Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, guys. Today we have a special episode. Today I have my man, Shawn Walchef, all the way from San Diego, California, right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, hanging out with me inside Single Tree Barbecue. Absolutely epic to have you. Thanks for coming to hang out.
It's been a long time coming, Charlie.
It has been,
since
man.
The Instagram Live.
The Instagram
you
Live.
Want to share the story of the Instagram Live?
I'll let you share this story. You're a pretty good storyteller.
Fair enough. So 3 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 years ago, I got a message from Marissa Cali.
Yep.
Who I know from San Diego. She moved out to Murfreesboro. And she told me, I have a friend that is in the barbecue business and you should meet him. His name is Charlie. And I said, cool, send me his information. And I think whether it was email or text, I'm not sure.
Yep.
But we got connected and I said, let's jump on a Zoom call. So you booked a Zoom call with me.
I did.
And I believe maybe about an hour before the Zoom call, I sent you a message on Instagram and said, hey, Charlie, instead of the Zoom call, why don't we just do an Instagram Live?
And at that point in time, I thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
And then the more I've gotten to know you, the more I realized you are crazy.
I'm certified crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, certified crazy.
Which makes me like you even more because I'm right there with you.
We are swimming in the same ship. Yes.
Yeah. So on your show, you've been on my show before, but on your show, you always ask your guest what their favorite. Help me out. The stadium, venue, or
stadium, stage, or venue.
Stadium, stage, or venue.
Yes.
So, but I've never heard you say what your favorite stadium, stage, or venue is.
Fair enough. So my favorite stadium. That's a great question. Probably would have to be Roland Garros.
And why?
And
why
the
is
French
that?
Open is played. It is clay courts.
Yep.
And it's because I spent that time with my grandfather. So I can't wait to take my wife and the Walchef Wolfpack, my son and my daughter. We obviously watched the Olympics recently, and Roland Garros was where they played the tennis portion of they actually had boxing there as well. But Roland Garros is clay courts in Paris. Amazing place.
So for the people that watch my show that don't know who you are.
Yes.
All right. We're there. It's packed out. We got Toast, who's both of our primary technology partners and a sponsor of our show and yours. So we got them. We've pitched Toast. We've packed the place out. Maybe we even get our 365 to help throw in so we can make it extra special.
Restaurant 365.
Right?
That's right.
So we get all of them there. We've got hundreds of thousands of people. You're on stage. I give you the mic. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
I'm going to tell you a story. So I was very privileged to grow up in a place called La Jolla. And for those that don't know, La Jolla is called the Jewel. And it's in a very affluent neighborhood. And I was raised by my Bulgarian grandfather. I never met my father. My Bulgarian grandfather and my Japanese grandmother raised me in a life of privilege. And I got to go to an incredible school in La Jolla, private school, very expensive, very wealthy, and had an amazing childhood. Went to the University of Colorado, and then I went to Spain to study abroad. And my junior year, when I was studying abroad, I remember going to the Plaza de Toros because I stayed in the center of the city. So in Alicante on the Mediterranean, there is a bull ring on the Mediterranean. And I remember going to that bull ring and going to the payphone to call my grandfather. So payphone, no cell phones. This was 2003. And I remember calling him and telling him, you know, how great of a time I was having in Spain. And I remember him asking me, Shawn, I'm at the end of my life. I really want to write my book. I need help writing my book. I need help running my real estate properties. No one's here to help me. Will you help me? And it was at that time at the Plaza de Toros that I told my grandfather, yes, I will come home. I'll transfer from the University of Colorado to San Diego. So I transferred to the University of San Diego, but I'll help come write your story. And that was transformative for me because now, you know, that was back in 2003. We're almost 21 years later. And what I spend my time doing as not only a restaurateur, but as a media professional is teaching people how to tell their story. You know, helping my grandfather share his story, write his autobiography. The book is published. It's on Amazon. It's called The Harvest, How a Bulgarian Farm Boy Grew Wealthy in La Jolla, California. But now I spend my time with the biggest hospitality brands in the world, the best hospitality leaders in the world, allowing them to share their voice, use the internet and all these incredible tools that we have at our fingertips, Spotify and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, to tell the story, to see you tell the story of Single Tree Barbecue, and to come here to Murfreesboro to know how many people at the Restaurant 365 event know who you are. Like, they know who you are. And why do they know who you are? Because you're willing to do the uncomfortable work of sharing your story, talking about your grandfather, talking about your family, talking about the things that you're building out here and what you want to build and what you hope to build. And a lot of people laugh and they talk shit.
Yes, they do.
People have been talking
Yes,
shit to
they
you.
do.
They've been talking shit to me, but I don't care.
Nah, I don't either.
And like, once I stopped caring, you know, I always joke about Kevin Costner. He's kind of the evil villain in the story.
Right.
Like, Kevin Costner in the movie Field of Dreams says, if you build it, they will come. And if you're a restaurant owner and you're listening to this, they're not coming. Nobody's fucking coming. And the quicker that you realize that no one's coming, the quicker that you can change. And you can realize that you can own your story. You can own your story. You can use all of the tools that you have at your fingertips to actually start to do something to make a change. You know, restaurant business is such a hard business. We have been doing this for 16 years. We just opened on the San Diego Navy Exchange. My team, if it wasn't for Eric and Steven and Lisa and Howard and Gene and my wife working as hard as they do and all of the other team members, I couldn't be here.
They're killing it.
At your
You're
restaurant.
killing it. It's incredible, man.
I couldn't be here.
So for those people, you talk about storytelling, I talk about storytelling about as much as we talk about anything else.
Yep.
Right? So how do you tell people, like I read a story earlier about a restaurant nearby here in Nashville that just got trolled through the mud over some stuff. And turns out it wasn't true, and it was an ex-employee that was disgruntled and yada, yada, yada. But there's a lot of people out there that are scared to death about posting stuff online because of things like that, right? So how do you go about telling people to get over their fears and to just start telling their story?
It's really hard, to be honest with you. And it was hard for me. We're a barbecue business in California, and anybody that's in the United States that's from the barbecue meccas, we're here, you know, just outside of Nashville. Obviously there's Kansas City, there's Texas, there's Memphis, there's the Carolinas. Like, we get laughed at for saying that we're California barbecue. Like, Cali BBQ, is that a joke? Like, it's not a joke. We care deeply about the barbecue that we make. And storytelling is a lot like public speaking. You know, public speaking is the number one human fear. People would rather be in the coffin than give a eulogy at a funeral. You know, people do not want to speak in public.
It's amazing you say that. My grandfather on my mother's side just recently passed.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And we were pretty close. So I lived with him for a little while when I was really young. It was tough, but end of the day, I had to get over myself, really, and my emotion, because there wasn't going to be anybody speak at my grandfather's funeral that knew him.
Yep.
The preacher that was going to speak was not the preacher of his church, so nobody knew who he was. So I had to tell my mother and her entire family that I didn't think that was acceptable, and somebody that knew him needed to speak about him. So you put those aside, and I think recently it was one of the best things that I've done in my life. Because nobody spoke except for me, and what I said may not have been eloquent, may not have been the cleanest speech I've ever given in my life. There was tears, there was pauses that shouldn't have been there was choking up, all of those things. But I know that I had an opportunity that if I didn't do, I'd regret it for the rest of my life.
Yep. And
I took that and seized it. And because of that, I now know that everybody in that room knows who my grandfather was, what he stood for, and how I felt about him.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel it's the same thing about our businesses. If we don't seize the opportunities to tell everybody around us who we are, what we do, what we believe in, what we're trying to accomplish, how we're trying to make an impact in our communities and help and teach and develop others, nobody's going to do it for you. Like you said, this ain't the Field of Dreams, and Kevin Costner ain't starring. Nope. Nobody's coming.
No one's coming.
There's not a 5 mile long car line waiting to come in this building, and I would assume not yours either.
No.
So
100% no.
So to do it, go tell your story, get out there and do it. So why, with all of that being said, your restaurant's in California. Mm-hmm. Why in the hell are you in Murfreesboro, Tennessee?
Because I know I'm not alone. I have an inherent belief that there's somebody that's going to see this video, that's going to listen to this podcast, that will see this clip, that owns a restaurant, that's just been waiting to hear the message, to go, fuck, it's time. It's time. I can't depend on some social media agency. I can't depend. I know I need to be on Facebook. I know I need to post a video on Instagram. I know I need to be on TikTok. Like, what are we waiting for? What are we scared of? And this is the time that's going to change for them. And for me, the more that I've done this, because when I started in 2017, we started Behind the Smoke, nobody was listening to that show. Nobody. Like, we had a few people that eventually started listening and watching. But like after a year, after 2 years, I was on a different show talking about return on investment, which is something that anytime someone talks about content of why should we invest in storytelling, why should we start a YouTube channel. If I had a corporate job and I went to pitch them back in 2017 to turn the marketing department into a media department and start to do podcasting and do video storytelling, and ask them for $10,000 or $25,000, whatever the budget was, and then after year 2 come back and say, there's like 6 people listening to the show. Well, how many people came in to buy barbecue because of that? But I had an inherent belief knowing that if I was crazy enough to do it, there's someone else crazy, and maybe he's in Tennessee. And maybe I'm going to find that fucker. And I'm going to find him on Instagram. And not only am I going to connect with him, but we're going to become friends. We're going to become brothers without even fucking meeting each other in real life. It was only until Toast Customer Advisory Board in Boston that I met you. Yeah. And then we hung out at National Restaurant Association show. Yeah.
And now here.
It's
fucking amazing.
It is.
I love it.
It's all right, so story.
Every show we have a segment.
Okay.
That is called Mac or Beans.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a this or that segment. Easy. Okay. So to start with,
who's Mac and who's Beans?
What?
I'm controlling the segment. Is it my Mac, your Mac?
You're trying to control it, but that's not the way this works.
Where is the Mac and Beans? You have a segment without Mac and Beans? Mac and Beans.
The segment starts with it's a this or that, and we call it Mac or Beans. You have to decide, do you want Mac or Beans when you're eating barbecue?
Okay. So is that my question?
So your question is, would you rather have Mac or Beans?
My Mac or your Mac?
We'll keep it simple and say you're a Mac.
I'm in Tennessee. I'm trying to keep up here.
You haven't had my Mac, so you can't tell me that.
But wouldn't that be a perfect segment to show instead of tell? For all the beautiful people on YouTube that are watching this content, wouldn't they want to watch me eat this Mac and the beans and then make a decision?
That would have been great planning.
I'm here producing.
That would have been great planning.
The answer is wedding beans. The answer is wedding beans over Mac. Yes.
Wedding beans over Mac. Okay.
Yes, but if it's regular beans, like not sexy beans, then I'll go with Mac.
Well, we have a bean that's we don't call them wedding beans.
What do you call them?
We call them smoked beans.
Smoked beans.
Yeah.
I think we can work on the name. Can we workshop the name?
Look, man,
this is my show. It's my restaurant. We're workshopping this. We're gonna ask the audience.
Look, I keep things simple.
We're turning this into a segment. If you're listening to this, send us your suggestions.
Should it be wedding beans or smoked beans?
Well, not wedding beans because I have a trademark on those. Not really, but the wedding beans are in
So
San
then
Diego.
it's
If you
still
want
there.
the wedding beans, you come to San Diego. But if you want a new name for the beans on Charlie's menu, send in your suggestions at Single Tree Barbecue.
Please do.
Happily taking
Please
suggestions.
Please send me all of your suggestions.
All of the suggestions.
And then
you know what you should do?
There's an open segment
Where's your should jar? Do you have a should jar?
No, I don't have a should jar.
Every restaurateur should have a should jar.
A should jar?
Yeah, you should do this. You know what you should add to your menu?
What should I add to my
menu? You should.
What should I?
You should.
Should I add anything to my menu?
I don't know. I haven't. We'll see. The menu.
You're making suggestions. You hadn't even looked at the menu.
I know. Not even yet. I know.
Jesus
I've got
Christ.
all kinds of suggestions.
This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
At least I cook with wood.
Are you putting me on the show?
Not at all.
Okay, fair enough.
Never. Okay. You're welcome anytime you want to.
Fantastic.
That is outstanding.
I will hijack your podcast anytime.
That's great.
It's fantastic.
All right, so your primary technology partner is Toast?
Yes.
Okay. So
true statement.
Mine is as well.
Yes.
But one thing that I do like to ask people is that are using Toast is why do you use Toast and why do you believe in what they're doing?
Easy. Our show, one of our shows, is called Digital Hospitality. The essence of that show is that every business, especially brick and mortar businesses, need to be digital first. And every business is in the hospitality business, whether they know it or not. The only way to succeed moving forward, 2024 and beyond, is to have humans that are developing software at the heart of your business for content, commerce, communication, and community. Toast does all of those things for us. And not only that, but they believe in their customers. And they believe in them because you and I get to go to Boston and we watch them actually come humbly and present to our board that rips them apart. And not only do they take the feedback, but they improve upon the feedback. And we know that not only is that for us, but that is for all of the 113,000 customers that they have.
It's pretty incredible what they do. I can tell you that since I've had Toast, my restaurant is 100 times better than it ever would have thought about being prior.
Yep.
From an execution service, you know, we undoubtedly believe wholeheartedly in undeniable hospitality and using technology to help increase that and make the restaurant better and the service that much better is just, it's just that simple.
Yep.
Use Toast. If you don't, call me. We'll hook you up, or call Shawn. We'll hook you up with the right people. So, all right, look, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough for coming to hang out with me. Can't thank you enough for spending a few minutes on the show just to chit chat and catch up.
I'm here to workshop your menu live on a podcast anytime.
You got all kinds of things going on, and even more. Taking control of my show is even better. I absolutely love it. I love when interviewers just take over. The end of every show, we wrap up with a Friday feel good.
Is it Friday?
It is. It is. Well, it will be when the show comes out.
That's media magic. It's actually Monday.
So today on my show, Derry, my co-host, always does our Friday feel goods.
Okay.
So I try real hard to produce a decent Friday feel good. But today is simply tell your story. Go out, start now, tell your story. Doesn't matter how you feel. Get out there, get over the fear of turning the camera around and telling your story. Somebody wants to hear it. You can impact somebody's life in a positive way just by turning around and sharing your message, your story, and what's going on in your world. And we would absolutely love to stay in contact with you. If you want to get involved in our show, it's real simple to do. Email me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. You can get us on all of the social medias at SingletreeBBQ. You can give me a call at 615-307-0120.
Join us on LinkedIn.
But
Charlie's on LinkedIn.
Sean started a LinkedIn live room every Wednesday and Friday. At 12 Central Time, 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
But if people are trying to get a hold of you,
easy.
How would they get a hold of Shawn Walchef?
At Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever your digital playground, I'm there. You can email me, Shawn@CaliBBQ.media. I'm weirdly available.
I love it.
Appreciate you. I can't wait to eat the food.
It's going to be fun. Big family style feast tonight.
I heard you're closed on Mondays.
We're closed on Mondays.
But we're open.
But
it's Friday.
Until next time, guys, y'all know what to do. Find somebody you know and tell them you love them. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.